trick others. That is a very apt comparison between the authentic expression of self from a healthy and whole neurodivergent person that is in tune with their purpose, and a narcissist that is constantly trying to figure out what face to put on in order to get what they want. For an autistic person, for a neurodivergent person who is authentically in that place, it can be difficult when we encounter a narcissist if we don't understand what to look for, because there are similar methods of engagement when it comes to sharing. If a narcissist sees that you like something, they will go out of their way to learn as much as possible about that thing to mimic your special interest until they get to a point where they can cut you down for that special interest. And that's the difference. The authenticity versus the act, which is designed to open up the armor and then get close in order to wound and draw forth energy. When we're in authentic connection in a healthy community with healed people or people that are actively working on healing, then we build those authentic bonds and we learn to be able to support one another and protect one another when those individuals who are trying to, for lack of a better term at the moment, be the autistic skinwalker, try and come in and build clout or social following or influence things in the way that they see fit. And to people who don't think that that's happening, let's just remember there was a white woman in Seattle, Washington that got herself to be the head of the local chapter of the NAACP,
Rachel Dolezal,
and was identifying as black and was saying, well, even though all my ancestors are white, I identify as black. So there's that same point of like, you know, like if you are neurodivergent, if this is part of your life, part of your experience, part of your path and your authentic self, then be present and express it and be honest. But being here as a community allows us to stand together when there are people that would try and put on the mask and say, oh, I'm an ally, or oh, I identify this way, when they're trying to draw energy out and sow seeds of discord.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's so funny. I was having this same conversation with my mom yesterday about Rachel Dolezal. And like, I think there's another woman in Philadelphia that was doing the same thing. She was claiming that she was of, Middle Eastern descent and Hispanic descent, and I think, in the beginning of this conversation, we were talking about how people are now feeling like, neurodivergence is trending. Mm-hmm. So like they want to say, oh yeah, me too. Right. Yeah. It's very interesting. Very, very interesting.
It is.
Yes. Oh, Dragon, you got it.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Enoch, thank you for bringing that analogy up, or not even analogy, but reminding us about the skinwalkers, that I never would have went back and made that connection without you. And I want to say that I want to have a follow-up to that neurodivergent episode of this neurodivergent series. And I was telling Yanni yesterday, I want to have a panel on this. And I think both of you would be excellent additions to that panel. I'd love to coordinate it with the two of you, so I'll be reaching out to the two of you to discuss that. This is big to me.
Wonderful. Yeah, let's do it.
Likewise. And I think that we're about at the wrap-up time, and I know I want to give Anila a chance to speak. Some of the things that we're going to be working on moving forward in the Full Spectrum family are bringing in more guest speakers and helping to expand the community and provide, like I've been saying, that place of authentic connection and support. So I'll share a little bit more about some of what's on the horizon right after Anila.
Okay, I would like to say a very interesting thing about myself, and SK would love to know that. My whole journey is kind of accident. If I say about myself, how I become a therapist, how I become a psychologist, it was all accident. How I got a job in a place, there was all autistic was an accident. So if I say that I came to this journey where I was not even aware of myself, that I have this thing and I am a neurodivergent person, that is all things are adding up and adding up and adding up. And I belong to a family where we are it's a religious family, but you could say that we have very strong connection to the religion that we follow. And my mother is something who dreams a lot, and her dreams come true too. And I'm not comfortable in sharing that, but I have seen deaths in my family, which you could say that I dream about that. And after that, I am so afraid of my dreams, and I was so afraid to sleep even too. And that was the reason that there used to be dreams like that. And I have seen maybe death in my family, maybe 4 deaths in my family in a row, like maybe in 2 years, and my whole house is gone. Like my own family is, like I'm talking about my aunts and uncle. So the whole thing of spirituality, we need to understand that there's a very strong connection toward that. And if we go toward the old definition of psychology, it was more like a spiritual, because first philosophy and psychology was the same discipline, but now later on they just divide that. But if we talk about psychology is a study of mind and brain and soul also. We have to consider the fact of soul. So there's very strong connection toward that. And still, I need to see that what my body is telling me, because the way it indicates something bad, it is going to happen with me. And this happened with so many times. So many times. And I'm so afraid sometimes to connect to that side, because sometimes those visions or those dreams are very scary. Like those scary things which I don't want to happen with myself, with my family members, and that's happening. And that was the reason when I start, you could say that I denying that part of body. Like I don't want to go there, because that is the scariest part. And there's something else also. If you're a healer, you know this idea that no matter whatever you do, wherever you go, you have to heal yourself. You have to see that part of your body. So no amount of help is going to help you out until and unless you get accustomed to that. So if I get any problem, if I encounter any problem, if I roam around the world, I cannot get that help until and unless I figure out something by myself. So it's a tough job to be a healer. I'm not saying that I'm a very good person or I'm a super good therapist, but I'm very good in the job I am doing. Either it's come to it's child, either it's come to adult, either it's come to autistic children, either it's come to ADHD. And I have, I can identify a child who is neurodivergent if the child is in a crowd. Same is true for adult too. That is energy surrounding me. So there's something we need to accustom to that. Either it's shamanism, either it's the spiritual part of ourselves. But if you're a healer in any form, in modern terminology, you're a therapist, back then you are a healer. I think there's some very strong connection between those things, and we need to explore that, because as a healer you have more responsibility. As a healer you are more, like on daily basis we are taking so much negative emotions from other people. Like they are sharing all the problems with you, all the troubles with you, and there's a lot of troubles going in your own life, but even then you put them on the side. But I think there need to be a place where we cleanse our soul, we get accustomed to our soul, and I think we need those discussion. I think we need those discussion where we don't discuss about medicine, where we don't discuss about terminologies, where we don't discuss about this criteria, that criteria, because that is very hard to understand that you are doing something which is very important. So I think we need to do those discussion, either it's in the panel discussion, either some form, because if you're a healer, you know that you got this persona of a healer, you got this body of a healer, and being healer means toughest job in the world. It's not an easy job, it's a tough job. Sometimes I am so depressed, you can't even imagine that. When I get depressed, my body is totally cold from inside, like I breathe cold air out, and my patient was waiting for me, and I have to leave everything behind, and I have to listen to her. And this happened with me day before yesterday. I said that I felt that I'm not able to do session, and my both patient called me. They wanted to have a session, and this happened back when I did not did their session, and there was one of a girl who tried to cut herself, and there was another girl who was having that sleep trial thing, like her panic attack came back. So I feel more responsibility for that, but I think we need to have a place where we can have a peace of mind. Otherwise, there are a lot of people that depend on you. There are a lot of people that depend on healer, and you are not a replaceable person. This is what I know. So I would say that to you, SK, you're an amazing person, and nobody can replace you. And you need to save yourself also. We need to save ourselves. So
absolutely, I
think
agree.
with this discussion, I would. I think I have taken a lot of time of everybody, but this is what I would like to share with everyone.
Thank you. I totally agree with what you said. Thank you. I feel. Can you everyone hear me?
Fine? Absolutely, we hear you.
Yep, we got you.
Okay. So I will say this. I felt similar yesterday, actually, where some chronic pain in my back had come up. And usually when that chronic pain comes up, it's like my spirit telling me, you haven't been doing your deep quantum meditations lately. There's some build up there. So, find some time to do that work. So yesterday it was that day, like I was in chronic pain and my spirit was really pushing me to now take time to self. Like I even to the point where now in my practice, I'm going to be rescheduling my daily activities. Like even the way I see clients is going to shift and change, because like Fridays are my days, it's kind of like my day off, even though this is a great conversation, so it doesn't feel like work today. And I also had time last night and yesterday to do some deep intensive soul care work. But I wanted to say as an encouragement is to always find time to put soul care work in your practice, and everybody knows what they need, to fill up their cup, right? So if it's a day, if it's 2 days, that you block off your schedule to dedicate to doing soul care work, please do it, because, we always ask the question, who heals the healer, right? Who is the one that will step up to heal the healer, and I'm grateful to now be a part of this community, because I feel like we can be so transparent and, speak real to each other, but when we're alone and, when we're offline and things like that, I definitely encourage everyone to be setting aside dedicated time to your soul care practice, for sure.
Wow, thank you both. Anila and Sata, you were both so on point with that topic of caring for your soul and needing a community to get together and talk about these topics as well without using medical terminology and today's terminology, and finding our proper language for dealing with these, for addressing and just communicating about these subjects and topics. I will tell you, I'm probably the youngest in understanding or even starting to comprehend what's going on in these realms, so I could definitely benefit from a space, maybe even offline, where we can talk about these things. And I'll be honest, I'm sometimes nervous about discussing this part of life on these wires. I don't know, does anybody else get those feelings? I know we should be shutting down, but I am curious about just that one last question, and I'm done for the day.
I don't ever feel uncomfortable about discussing higher realms of consciousness and how to expand our consciousness on these types of platforms, because the information is out there. It's not like I'm sharing information that is part of a secret tome that's been locked away by a brotherhood in a castle in Latvia for the last 400 years, right? I don't have access to that information, so I'm not really that concerned about someone sniping me for it. I'm not a Freemason, so I can't share anything of theirs that I've been sworn to confidentiality. I don't even know what their stuff is. I just know what I've picked up along the way. I know what I've lived. I know what I've experienced. And I do think that when it comes to diving deeper on these things, there does need to be a focused and carefully directed space. Because one of the things that I have been very careful about, I'll talk about these things, but not with intensity on Twitter or in these spaces, because I know how far I've come on my journey. I know where the people are who are farther ahead of me. And I'm very clear that this is not a public discourse. If there are people that I am supposed to work with in that way, then I will work with them. If there are people that I am not supposed to, I won't. And they always come to me in the time and place that is necessary. So, bringing that into the general conversation of what we do here in Full Spectrum Friday will open up the room for those conversations to happen more one-on-one. And also, I do have some thoughts that have been bubbling for a few years about creating physical spaces where neurodivergent people can go for healing and for training, and how to use various indigenous customs and meditation practices and natural medicines in order to reconnect and find that peace with self in this time and place.
Not to cut you off, but I used to carry a space when I first started on Twitter that everybody ended up going. It was just overwhelming, where we discussed soul consciousness. And yeah, they told me to start it up again. And since Dragon said something, I'm shaking like, oh my God, is this the calling to start up again? Because everyone's like, did you start it up? So I will start hosting more, and I probably will kick it off with the dream I had last night that everybody was intrigued about earlier. So, yeah, I'll start my spaces again then.
Yeah, thank you for saying that, Soul Librarian. I would be interested in joining that as well. And also on my platform, I'm going to be creating the Neurofabulous podcast series, where I'll be interviewing other holistic wellness practitioners and mental health professionals who really understand all the different complexities of our community. So I have the option of, like, once you join the Neurofabulous community support group, you're able to now get access to weekly yoga dance classes, to move our bodies, and do the somatic work that we need on a weekly basis. You'll also have access to the weekly book club discussion, as well as you'll be able to do live Q&A with these holistic wellness professionals and mental health professionals when we're recording the live podcast. So it'll probably be in a virtual room where we're going to moderate, and people can now, do live Q&A with whoever I have as a guest on the Neurofabulous podcast. So
that is great. Go ahead, Enoch. Go ahead, brother. I'm just excited here.
Once again, coming in with the exact same thing. That is fabulous. That is neurofabulous.
Yes.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you, this is even spookier, as I've been trying to talk my way into starting a book club for the past 6 months, probably longer. And I was this close, and now I realize, and I've been wondering why I don't need to, and now I see why. You've got one started. I can just join that one. Thank you.
Yes. Give thanks.
Yes, indeed. I had a little book club I was running last year that I moved to a Monday space, and it was about how to manifest. We were looking at different books about manifestation and creation of a different world, with like actual steps in terms of how do we shift our own perspective to make the world different. And it was one of those things that it was too late for me to do consistently. And so I made a shift in my own life and just focused on the Full Spectrum family for now. Still do the Manifestation Mondays, but now it's more of a morning check-in every Monday morning rather than an evening book club space. But we're building these resources. We're building this community together. Every day there are more people that are stepping up and shining their light. And this Full Spectrum family is growing. We're working on the back end right now with putting together a proper website where you'll be able to find the recordings of all of the spaces, starting from episode 2 of season 2, which was the first we did with the NFT Voices community. We're also going to be releasing some apparel with custom designs from the founders of the Full Spectrum family, and working to start putting together workshops and create more connections and meetups and all of these things. All of them are in the works. All of it's coming. And we'll have an actual proper timeline sometime soon. I will not give a day because there's too many variables that come in. But I'll let you know very soon. We're going to have that timeline out. We'll have the website up. And everyone will be able to check in and rock your own Founders Collection full spectrum family apparel. So
Wonderful.
Thank you all for being here today. Thank you, Sata, for coming in and speaking your truth and your wisdom and your love so wholly and completely. It is beautiful to welcome you to the Full Spectrum family and to have you here with us.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much for extending the invitation, Shad. Thank you so much for reaching out to me and bringing me into another aspect of my Soul Tribe community and family. I love it here. Thank you.
Thank you. We look forward to joining your community as well. I love what you're building, and I want to support. That's my job. That's my mission here on this earth, is to support the ones who deserve it. And I know that's not just supporting you, it's going to be supporting myself by joining. So thank you so much for appearing in my life. I know it's right on time.
Yes, give thanks.
Enoch, you ready to close this out, brother?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. It has been a beautiful day. Beautiful way to start my Friday. And I just want to say once again, thank you all for being here, for being part of the Full Spectrum family. Thanks to everyone down in our listeners, Aphrodeva, Kitty, the GRYSKLL fam. So I know you doubling up on the 717, helping us get that algorithm up. So thank you, everybody, for being here. Make sure to follow each other's accounts. Let's keep this going. And I'll say this in terms of the work we're doing. If anyone knows or comes into connection with someone that really loves social media, like knows how to work it in and out, does not get stressed by it, it's just a natural form of communication, that you find to be a very trustworthy and down to earth, well, I won't say down to earth because none of us are completely down to earth, but in tune with themselves, neurokin, that would be down for the mission. We would love to have someone come on as a social media manager to help us with curating content and making sure that it gets across all of the social platforms in an accessible way. That'll be a big help to the Full Spectrum family moving forward, because I know with all of our gifts combined, we are amazing, but we're still a few short of Captain Planet. So, we got to get a couple more rings of power in the house to get that full Captain Planet going. Love my whole team. Love you all. Thank you for being here, for being part of this mission and this journey. And I look forward to seeing y'all next Friday, bright and early, or nice and late in the evening, or whatever time it is for you. Until next time, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. This is Enoch Kaz saying not my swag.
And don't forget to follow Full Spec Fuck Fam. Pardon my French. Hey, thank you everybody who came in and joined. This is a fabulous episode, our first guest of the year, and it meant the world. We got Yanni to pop up and appear, so thank you for popping up, baby. Y'all have a good Friday, good weekend. We'll see y'all later. Peace, peace, peace. Sorry for the technical difficulties, but